Om Brahmanandam Param Sukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Vilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namam. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. In Viveka-Chudamani, verse number 27, insight into qualifications for attaining enlightenment. That's the topic that continues. And just to reiterate, there are 4 qualifications: Vivek, an intellect that can separate unreal from the real. The mixture of unreal and real is so profound, mysterious, that it is not a simple matter. If you are dreaming, you have a little illustration of that. Sometimes people dream and then they don't like the dream. And then they ask themselves, am I dreaming? The Middle Eastern method is bite your head. If it pains, that means you are not dreaming. But that also is a fictitious method. Even in dream you bite your hand, it will pain you. You wake up and there is no bite on it. The intellect has that problem. Is this real? The dream goes on. Are you awake or are you dreaming? Of course, nature helps. There is you wake up by the mysterious hand of God. You are always a child in the arms of God. God wakes you up. Doesn't give you more problem. But when you have to wake up from the long dream of the world process, there requires your maturity. Nobody will wake you up. You have to discover that the principle that wakes you up is deep within you, and you are the one. When you go deeper and deeper, there is nothing but the non-dual absolute self. Just like the sky has become blended with clouds, and if your mind is confused, dull, then you pity the sky for the clouds, what the clouds have done to it. Fortunately, that publicity is not important for the masses. But just as it is subtle to separate clouded sky from the pure sky, or separate this screen from the projections, or separate the dream from your waking consciousness. In the same way, It is profound, mysterious. For you to separate the waking world, which is a play in consciousness. Consciousness is the mass of consciousness, like a big lake. In that lake, your nervous system, your mind, your senses are creating reflections. Now, imagine you build up an ego to understand. Ego, individual soul endowed with ego, has two choices. Just realize it is all nothing but the lake. In spite of all the reflections, nothing has happened. Or go on watching the reflections. A crow has passed and it reflected in the lake. Now when the swan passes, it looks much better. Then you pray, oh God, send the swan. I'm just giving you simple illustrations. All situations and circumstances are reflections based upon your nervous system, your senses, backed up by your karma. Whole karmic process is backed up by ignorance. So, different statements are given by sages to understand that point. Pragyana ghanam. You are nothing but pure awareness. The devotional expression, this world is filled with God. ये जगत ईश्वर से लबालब भरा हुआ है. The world you are seeing reflected in the lake, that world is overfilled with the lake. There has been no division. Reflections can't blame the lake. When did you create me? Why did you create me? How long it will take for me to attain liberation? All the while there is nothing but the lake. God has not kept you in dark. Day by day when you go to sleep, the world that is perceived by your senses, by your intellect, by mind, all this world is reflections. They move away. In sleep you are not with your ego, not with your intellect, not with your wondrous senses and the wandering mind. And marvel of marvels, so don't miss it. But when an idea comes to you, one day you have to leave the body. One day you have to leave the relatives. One day you will leave your home. And all that you have built up, all that you have expected, one day it sends the chill to the brain. Well, day by day, you see it all gone. Rather you cherish it, that time when all is gone. If it is not, you go after doctors. Give me a pill, it will make me sleep. So if you assimilate it gradually, then you are getting into profound understanding of jnana and bhakti. Jnana is to explore, who am I? Bhakti is to bring in increasing love in that exploration. See, you tell a person explore, there is diamond inside this mind. Now you summon up all your energy, you are exploring. But add another point, your eyes are flashing. The devil is coming. Your heart is joyous, overjoyed at every step. So bhakti has joined in. It reduces your effort and brings a sense of joy in all your effort towards attaining enlightenment. I've just given you a setting that has already included of many things. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhana ajnana kalpitan swaswarupavabodhena bhoktumichhamu mukchuta. All bondages from ego to body are illusory. If you keep the dream study in view, it's easy to understand. In your dream personality, in your dream body, you are aware of your body, you are aware of your mind, your intellect, you are aware of your possessions, you are aware of various circumstances around you. From ego to body, the world expands in your dream. But they are all illusory. Your body is illusory. Your sense perceptions are illusory. Your mind that evaluates perceptions, that's illusory. You have to deal with some more illusion. Hold right. Just as all things of your dream are superimposed on consciousness, when you wake up, all experience of time, space, causation, the multiplicity of the dream vanishes. And you don't miss it unless you were a child. Children miss their dream. Wonderful dream was going on. Suddenly, mother called and he couldn't even take a handful of cakes or whatever. That again, from a very broad point of view, all sorrows and miseries are childish. Because when you wake up, you discover you are the only excellent being in your or the world that you saw. You surpass all things that were presented in your dream world. And you are unscathed, untouched by the dream. This is an illustration. Same way, all the world experience which has gone on from life to life, this is study of a world from beginningless time is being made by a conditioned mind. So don't believe in it. The main purpose is to awaken the mind. So all things that help your mind to go on asking the question how to wake up, they are the valid questions. Anything else is distraction for your mind. Unless you are dealing with some practical situation, you see. Must always separate the practical world where everything is precise in a particular way. But for understanding the self, to wake up, to attain realization, that's a subtler process. So all bondage, from ego to body, just this directs your attention to your 5 sheets and 3 bodies, your numerous embodiments. All is illusory, Maya. And Maya is superimposed upon the self. Superimposed is the example I gave you, like a lake. So many things reflecting in a lake. You look at it, suddenly lake moves away from your attention and you start seeing different things as individual items. But they are not individual items. Reflections are nothing but the lake. And nothing has changed in the lake. And the lake has not given a special room for the reflections. So you can't blame the lake. The entire lake experience, the reflection experience in a lake is Maya. However, as this understanding enters the mind, even to a slightest degree, aspiration begins to blossom. That means a subtle longing develops within you. I am in bondage. When will I be free? An awareness of the predicament of the soul, an awareness that you who are the non-dual self, you who are the entire lake, you become trapped to a little reflection. Bravo to the mind. Now therefore your intellect sees 2 things. The joy of freedom and the misery of being in bondage. This perception of misery in bondage is not a psychological development. Otherwise, anyone who is miserable may be considered as aspiring for liberation. Different examples are given, but all examples are limited. A lion cub brought up by sheep goes on bleating like sheep. There's the whole parable about it. And a good person saw this and developed compassion for the cub, cornered the cub and brought the cub to a lake and let it see its face into the lake. And the instruction that you are not the sheep that you think yourself to be. So don't bleat, roar. And the moment the lamb or sheep, the baby sheep, looks into the lake, and rather that's the cub, sees his face, he realizes he's not a sheep. And he opens his mouth, and the sage says, yes, yes. Roar. He roars. All his sheep folk move away from him. He doesn't belong to them. I'm trying to give you the idea. In Bhakti Yoga, it relates to vira, which is translated as pangs of separation. When two people who love each other intensely, one is separated, then there is a pain, great sorrow of that separation. But that again is an illustration. The real experience is totally different. But there is no way. You have to use the language people know. Just as from a dream you want to wake up, you find nothing is satisfactory within it. You don't sit down on a chair in a dream and grieve over it. So you don't understand the two types of grief. Grief caused by something happening in your life, led by your karma. Some negative thing has happened. And an expectation, something should be better. But expectation of liberation is totally different. It is, you are going to wake up. It is a kind of restlessness that does not disturb your brain. It's a transcendental. And it enhances your life. You may not have attained liberation, but you have attained degrees of aspiration. Those degrees of aspiration will bring joy in your heart in spite of all limitations of the world. Will bring to you a boldness you never knew. And even though you are joyous and nothing do you lack, yet there is a spiritual longing and spiritual pull towards the divine self. That's what we mean by yearning for freedom. That yearning cannot be created in a sentimental way. In other words, having listened to all this, I'm building up mukshitva. I will yearn for liberation. It cannot be done. But it automatically goes on developing as you advance. The mind develops a broad understanding of what you have faced through countless lives. And you don't want to be consoled by present life. Someone were to say, don't worry about the past lives, here, whatever you want. A deity comes, you want kingdom, you want fame, you want power, you want to live for 1,000 years, all I'm going to give you. So forget about all. This is what I term consolation. That we have a yearning for liberation, all this seems nothing. That's what Yama and Nachiketa story. Yama is giving to Nachiketa all this. And Nachiketa, whose mind is set on liberation, doesn't find all this interesting. There's Upanishadic illustration. Sage Vamadeva, who was born enlightened, is a powerful personality of ancient time. The story is, when did he attain enlightenment? Even in the mother's womb. He waited for a few months until the baby has come to a maturity. And at that stage, suddenly it intuitionally dawned on him. Who recorded it? His nervous system was poor. But in spite of the fact there is another element, aspect of every person, and that's supermind, supramental state. And through that plane of supramental nature, Rishi Vamadeva expressed that his revelation was picked up by other sages, or he himself might have told to others. But this is the story, that even while he was lying in a mother's womb, suddenly he became awakened in a spiritual way. He said, I knew many lives of gods. Gods here relate to the presiding deities of the senses. Your personality is built on the basis of so many deities. Sun god operates through your eyes. Different gods operate through different limbs. And these gods had a lot of work through many lives. 1,000 chains had held me down. Not one or two, thousands and thousands. So imagine ordinary misery, few things lost, etc., can break the heart of a person. So this is not ordinary misery. You're chained by 1,000 chains. You break a few, and by breaking it you create many, many more. So, through karmic process, while you resolve one negative karma, you create basis for many more negative karmas in later on. That awareness, 1,000 chains had held me down. That awareness is associated with the immense boldness of the soul. Like a bird that has been wounded and finds itself on a tree. Is a hawk, very powerful. Then as consciousness comes to the bird, looks at the predicament, even though comfortable on the branch and sees so many branches around, the bird doesn't want all that. Wants to experience, shake off all, wants to experience unobstructed movement. In the same way, your soul is like a big hawk. Vamadeva uses the word. 1,000 chains had held me down, but like a hawk, I broke them all by the power of jnana, intuitional knowledge. But prior to attaining that jnana, there was that urge to break them. That's called mumukshutva. So anyone who has mumukshutva, don't think he will be looking miserable. He will be restless because he only wants to attain liberation. He doesn't want your food, no more pakoras or pulao. This is expressed in all religions. In the Bible you see Jesus says foxes have holes and birds have nests on the trees for laying themselves down, for being comfortable. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head upon. He sees the entire world and all the possibilities of the universe, but nothing is substantial. He outsteps the world, just like the lake outsteps all the reflections that occur in it. That's called mumukshutva, which is also another aspect of vairagya, para-vairagya, supreme dispassion. Manda madhyam rupapi vairagyena samadhina prasadena guroha seyam pravriddha suyate phalam. Even if an aspirant may be dull or mediocre, his yearning for liberation through the grace of Guru may come to bear fruit by means of vairagya, shama and so on. Simple point that is being given is that as a general sadhaka, while you are promoting the qualities of serenity, control of senses, vairagya, dispassion, while you are promoting it, if you have the spark of yearning for liberation, that is most important. It may not be full blown, but that longing is the key. Another important point, grace of Guru. So having that longing, you have approached the Guru, you have started receiving spiritual guidance. Different aspirants will have different results depending upon adhikari bhed, which means there are differences in your achievement of qualifications. The differences are given in 3 groups. Mand, Madhyam, Adhimatra. Mand is dull, Madhyam medium, Adhimatra intense. In this verse only 2 are mentioned, Mand and Madhyam. Intense is implied. Even if your movement, general qualification is dull, or mediocre. But if you have that desire, may I attain liberation, then naturally you will be drawn to Guru, you will be doing things that please Guru, and you receive grace of Guru. That will enhance your sadhana. Now, whatever you are trying to acquire, like serenity, control of senses, purity of mind, all this will come faster. Things that seemed impossible becomes very quick and possible. Raja Yoga brings out more details about this. Three types of aspirants: mild, Raja Yoga calls it dull, medium, and intense. Now you can create by some mathematics. You can be mild, you can be mild medium, you can be mild intense. That is associated with two great practices, abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa is repeated effort. Vairagya, mind that goes on understanding the illusory nature of things. Now you can have mild abhyasa and mild vairagya. You can have medium abhyasa and mild vairagya. You can have an intense abhyasa. You have lots of time and just go on doing japa, this or that. Hours you sit, do lots of meditation, lot of japa. But vairagya is not there. The ideal is to have intense, forceful abhyasa and intense vairagya. Then there is immediate, quick, like a lightning flash. A parable makes it easier to remember. There was someone in an ashram who heard. Of course, ashrams don't give a lot of delicious things. So this man heard that across the river there was another ashram that was having a great festivity, and a lot of wonderful food was going to be given. So now when he heard, he decided, let me go across. Came during the day, and the boatman asked for money to take him across. He was very miser, or probably he didn't have much money. So he stood back and planned to take the boat by the night. The river had only a short distance. So it was a moonlit night. In the night he entered into the boat and rowed and rowed and rowed until when he opened his eyes wide, he saw the bank. He was so happy. He has crossed the river. And then he saw his his folk, some of them who were with him before, they also were coming that way, by the bank. So they have been also clever. During the night they entered the boat. But then soon they realized the boat was where it was all the time. Because while he was rowing, he forgot to untie the boat. The boat was well tied. Sometimes if you don't have vairagya, and you are just going and rowing, and then there is a complaint. 5 years I have done all this sadhana. But I find myself like anybody else. When abhyasa and vairagya both join together, then you are really moving. Otherwise it's fake movement. However, all this comes to you in a progressive manner. If you notice that you don't have vairagya enough, you can't do anything about it. Just do more satsang, continue your sadhana, do more seva, and have faith that God within you will enhance your abhyasa, your vairagya. But don't build up illusions. Simply because you have given more time, that doesn't mean you have advanced. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasya tu vidyate tasminnevarthavantah syuh phalavantah shamadayah. In case of those whose vairagya and mukshutva are intense, vairagya is dispassion, mukshutva, the aspiration for liberation. These are closely related. When you have mukshutva, I want to be free. Then you don't love the network that had tied you down. You don't have the idea, I want to be free, but I want to take a handful of this web with me. So if you were to go on enhancing your vairagya and mumukshutva, then all other ingredients of sadhana will develop in you very easily. In other words, you will develop shama, serenity of mind, dhamma, control of senses, uparati, detachment from fruits of karmas, titiksha, endurance, shraddha, faith, and samadhan, tranquility of mind. All these are needed. They will all go on developing. You may not have to say, oh, I have to develop so many things. I've just started with vairagya and with vairagya and mumukshutva, this passion and aspiration for liberation, if they are highlighted, then you are bound to develop all wondrous qualities that scriptures praise. And those qualities will be arthavanta, which means will be meaningful, and phalavanta, which means giver of desired result. Otherwise people develop those qualities like colors in a peacock feather. Appearances. There is no vitality in them. Good qualities are like fragrance. You can put fragrance two ways: artificial fragrance in wonderful artificial flowers. and real fragrance coming from real flowers. If you are developing vairagya and mumukshutva steadily, then all those qualities the scriptures praise, all the Devi Sampat of the Gita, the divine treasure of all virtuous qualities, they will develop in you, not in an artificial way, just like fragrance in a flower. They will be extremely effective qualities. एतयोर्मन्दता यत्र विरक्तत्वमुमुक्षयोः मरौ सलिलवत्तत्र समादेर bhanamatrata. However, if vairagya and mumukshutva are dull, the sadhana of shama and other qualities will become illusory, which I explained. They will all become like artificial, like mirage in a desert. मोक्ष कारण सामग्र्याम भक्तिरेव गरीयसी स्वस्वरूपानुसंधानम bhaktirityavidhiyate. Among spiritual practices which are conducive to liberation, bhakti or devotion alone is supreme. Another great secret in leading you to enlightenment is to have bhakti, devotion. What is bhakti? Shankaracharya, the author of this text, says, Swaswarupanusandhanam, quest for your essential nature. That's bhakti. Because there is instinctive love for the self. You start working upon what you already know. Otherwise, when people say love God, you begin to develop, how can I know how to love a child, how to love people, how to love God. Where is his head? Where is his feet? It's abstract. Now, simple answer. You don't know it, but you love the self. You may say, oh, then I know my body, but you don't love your body. If some problem is there in the body, you go to the doctor, take it out. You love yourself. Body is something external. You don't love the pranas. You don't love even the mind. You don't love the senses. All these you love for the sake of self. Because the self in you is residing in this complex body. And therefore you love the body. Otherwise you have thrown away countless bodies. While you were with the body, you loved them in an erroneous way, in a deluded way. Once you don't need the body, you leave the body. Of course, that's not easy to understand, but try to understand it. Body is not the one that's what you are. You are using the body. You are using your mind. You are using your intellect. All these are means of happiness. For whom? The self. And when all these have moved away, Still you are happy in your deep sleep. So you didn't really love them. So what is that which I love most? Do I have to acquire it? No, it's already there. We're looking through a veil of clouds. We're seeing the sun. What is that that illumines everything? Your mind goes after the sun. Similarly, what is that that makes your life have a subtle perception of love? Love is glowing like a diffused light of the sun through a veil of clouds. But nevertheless, it is profound. Even though the light is coming through the cloud and is diffused, it is much better than many lights of the world. If you begin to understand that divine love is diffusing through your mind constantly, so it is not something that you have to acquire it, but something that has to be revealed. As clouds move away, that love begins to shine more and more. Therefore, quest for who am I is same as the quest for who is the source of infinite love. Where can I find absolute love? Both go side by side. And with this we Om Shanti Shanti.